Hey everyone! Welcome back to the Old Charles. If you love coin collecting or just want to learn about some cool coins, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving deep into a classic, the Canada 1-cent coin from 1978. What's it worth? What makes it special? And should you keep it or sell it? Let's find out. The 1978 Canadian penny features the familiar design by the legendary artist G.E. Kruger Gray. On the front, or obverse, you have the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, which was designed by Arnold McKim, and on the back, the iconic maple leaf twig, a symbol you'll find on almost every Canadian penny. So what's the story behind the 1978 penny? Well, this coin was minted during a period when Canada was still actively producing pennies, which were made mostly of copper back then. The 1978 penny is made of 98% copper, 0.5% tin, and 1.5% zinc. This high copper content means that these coins have a nice reddish tone and also makes them a bit more valuable to collectors compared to later pennies with less copper. Back in 1978, Canada minted millions of these pennies. In fact, over 300 million were made that year. Because of this high mintage, the 1978 penny is considered a very common coin in circulated condition. Now, if you're wondering about the value of a 1978 Canadian penny, the truth is, most circulated coins are only worth face value, 1 cent. But don't get discouraged just yet. There are some things that can make your 1978 penny worth more. Here are the main things to look out for. 1. Condition asterisk: is your penny clean and shiny or worn and scratched? 2. Minting errors asterisk: sometimes mistakes like double dies, off-centers, or die cracks can make pennies valuable. 3. Uncirculated coins asterisk: coins that have never been used and still look brand new can fetch higher prices. For example, a 1978 penny in uncirculated condition or mint state could be worth anywhere between 50 cents to a few dollars depending on the grade. If it has rare minting errors, the value can go even higher. Professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC will give a grade based on the coin's condition. A higher grade means higher value. For 1978 pennies, a grade of MS65 or better is rare and sought after by collectors. But what about the copper content? Since 1978 pennies are mostly copper, some people might try to sell them just for the metal. That said, melting coins is illegal in Canada, so always keep that in mind. Here's a quick breakdown of approximate values for the 1978 Canadian penny. Uncirculated, MS60, MS63 around 50 cents to $1 higher. Uncirculated grades, MS64, MS67 $2 to $10 error coins asterisk asterisk varies widely, sometimes over $20. So, should you hold on to your 1978 penny or cash it in? If you have a handful of these coins, it might be fun to check if any stand out in terms of condition or errors. Otherwise, they're a great piece of Canadian history to keep as a memento. Before we get into the value and details, let's take a quick look at the history behind the Canadian penny, especially the 1978 issue. The Canadian 1-cent coin, or penny, has a long and fascinating history. It was first introduced in 1858, long before Canada became the country we know today. The penny has been an important part of everyday transactions for over a century. By 1978, the penny had already seen many changes in design and composition. The iconic maple leaf twig on the reverse side has been a symbol of Canada's natural heritage since 1937, designed by George Kruger Gray. This design remained largely unchanged for decades because it perfectly represented Canada's identity. Strong, simple, and uniquely Canadian. On the obverse, the image of Queen Elizabeth II has evolved over the years. The 1978 penny features the Arnold McKim portrait, which was used from 1965 to 1989. This image shows the Queen wearing a tiara, and it replaced earlier portraits as Canada's official coinage reflected changes in the monarchy. Throughout the 20th century, the penny was made mostly of copper, including the 1978 issue, which helped give it that classic reddish color. However, as copper prices rose and penny production costs exceeded the coin's actual value, Canada eventually decided to phase out the penny, officially discontinuing it in 2013. So, the 1978 penny represents a time when this humble coin was still king in Canadian cash transactions. A little piece of history in your pocket. Now that we know a bit about the history, let's talk about condition, one of the most important factors that determines a coin's value. Coins go through different stages of wear depending on how much they've been used and how well they've been cared for. When it comes to the 1978 penny, condition can make a big difference between a coin worth just a cent or one that's worth a few dollars. There are several standard terms used to describe coin condition: poor, P1, ***, heavily worn, details are barely visible. Good, G4, ***, the coin shows clear signs of circulation but major details are still visible. Very fine, VF20, ***, moderate wear on the high points, all major features are clear. Extremely fine, EF40, ***, light wear on the highest points, details remain sharp. Uncirculated, MS60 and above, ***, no wear, looks like it just came from the mint. Most 1978 pennies you'll find are circulated and fall somewhere between good and extremely fine, which means their value is usually just face value or slightly above. But if you happen to find a coin in uncirculated condition, also known as mint state, it's a different story. These coins have never been used in everyday transactions and still have their original luster. Collectors highly prize them, and they can be worth several dollars. One tip when checking condition: look for scratches, discoloration, or corrosion. Also, the sharpness of the maple leaves on the back and the details of the Queen's portrait on the front tell you a lot about how well preserved the coin is. Remember, the better the condition, the more likely you'll get a better price if you decide to sell or trade it.